One of the biggest parenting mistakes I made in my 20s was trying to make everything fair between my kids. Today, I have 17 kids, and one of the hardest things I've had to learn is that fair, it doesn't always mean equal. I mean, motherhood is messy, so let's talk. I'm the mom of 17 kids now, but back in my late 20s and early 30s, I only had 3. But at that time, I thought that fairness meant doing the exact same thing for each child. They needed the same amount of attention. They needed the same amount of support or same types of support. I thought that they needed the same rewards, the same consequences. If one child got something, they all had to get it. And I spent this time focusing on trying to make everything completely fair. But the more kids we had, especially after parenting kids with trauma, kids with sensory needs, kids with different backgrounds, and kids with different emotional needs, I started to realize something huge, that equal parenting was actually ignoring who my kids really were. One child, they may want constant hugs and reassurance. Another child, they may feel smothered by too much affection. One child may need one-on-one time to feel connected. And another child, they just might be naturally independent. One child can handle direct correction. Another child, they may completely shut down with that tone. So my goal stopped being, how do I parent these children equally? And started asking myself, how can I parent this child in the way they actually need it? If you've ever wondered why one parenting method works beautifully for one child, but completely fails for another, that's normal. Kids are not a one thing fits all. The longer I parent, the less I focus on being perfectly fair. And the more I focus on being intentionally connected. Sometimes loving your children well means loving them differently. And the more kids I've had, the more I realize that every child, they speak a different emotional language. Thought for today, the goal isn't equal parenting, the goal is effective parenting. Now, I feel like this has been a really big lesson in my life because it started all the way back when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, and I was trying to parent Brianna and Declan and Lily, and I was trying to make everything so equal. You know, I just tried so hard to make everything super fair. And then I realized that that is not really how you should parent kids. You should parent them each the way that they need to be parented. One of the examples for this, I feel like, is in our home, we have 2 15-year-olds, and they are so incredibly different from each other. They are really on opposite ends of the spectrum as far as their personalities. So with one child, I feel like I have to be super sensitive and soft with my words. And for the other child, if I were to talk to them in that same way, they would probably walk all over me, because they just have more of a bold personality. And so this is where, once we started doing foster care and adoption, and you really, really learned, I feel like, pretty fast that when you have different kids coming into your home, or, when you have different kids that are different personalities, you have to parent them in the way that they need to be parented, right? I just can't parent them in the same exact way because it's it's honestly, it would be doing a disservice to them, because what's effective for one is definitely not effective for the other. And, you have to have different tones and different body language and different rewards and different consequences. And, because they are so different, that what works with one isn't going to work with the other. So I just feel like this one is so true. It's not about being fair. It's not about fair doesn't always mean giving them the exact same thing. Fair means giving them what they need. That is what's going to work best for them. And again, it takes me all the way back to when I started parenting, 25 years ago. And now, all the way till now, when I realize, man, just how different kids can actually be. Since motherhood is messy, let's keep the real life parenting conversation going here. Or if you're interested how our large family actually works, we are the Conley clan, and you can check us out here.